time.
Beginning of the year, you know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Commissioner Board, and Dr. Garrettson, who's now over there.
I know.
Bruce Paterson, Garwood, New Jersey, and welcome, of course, newly minted Commissioner, Mr. Bodek. Also, congratulations, Commissioner Granados, on attaining the chairmanship. And sorry, I did miss the reorg, so I apologize for that. Reso 87 is giving $500,000 to mobile medical services for homebound county residents based on community needs, which is an interesting phrase. But anyway, question, why are we going outside our county obligations to provide health care to people at home? Resos 88 and 89 are spending $1.1 million on the COVID expenditures. Director Moran did give some explanation. But the question is, are we still being reimbursed by the federal government on these expenditures? And why not if we aren't? Reso 60, Reso 93 gives CME Associates $100,000 for on-call environmental services. Everybody else on that list was getting $10,000 for on-call. But anyway, this is a lot of money just for paperwork pushing. And I'm just wondering, what are we going to be encountering this year where you're setting $100,000 not to exceed for CME? And by the way, CME has donated $135,000 to the commissioners and their cronies' political campaigns in the last 4 years. Reso 99 gives Collier's Engineering nearly $100,000 for paperwork pushing for a Phase 1 courthouse boiler replacement. The question, I guess it needs the explanation of why you are phasing. And I'll tell you, I could just see this project actually costing a couple of $1 million. Boiler work is very expensive, which is reasonable. I'm not picking on what it's probably going to cost. So is the county handling this project direct? Reso 100 is paying Mass Construction nearly $170,000 for paperwork for a project to demo the Union County Courthouse parking deck. Commenting question, 4 years ago, I do remember an ordinance for $13.5 million for a parking deck. Is this the same project? Or are we talking about the parking deck on Jefferson Avenue, which actually doesn't make sense since that is actually owned by the city of Elizabeth? So I'd like to hear an answer on that. Reso 123 to 129 has awards totaling $560,000 to various entities for upcoming election services. Just a comment, as you know, I was tracking the last 3 years of rampant election costs, which ballooned to like over $6 million. But it appears from these resos that finally our election expenditures are starting to calm down, so thank you very much for that. Reso 142 is awarding $50,000 to Wiener Law Group for a suit Susan Tamburi versus County of Union et al. I understand this involves our Cornerstone unit at Runnels Hospital. Can someone please provide an overview? Resos 143 and 144 are awarding a total of nearly $150,000 to 2 law firms for lawsuits involving our past acting prosecutor, Lindsay Ruotolo, which I've talked on before. However, something strange is that the defendant is actually the Office of the Attorney General in both cases. The comment and the question. I had noted in the past that this is the gift that keeps on taking from the taxpayers, thanks to the apparent mishandling of Lindsay Ruotolo. Who, of course, as the saying goes, you rise to the level of your incompetence, so is promoted upward and buried in a state job. My question is, I thought the Attorney General's office does not have to defend and indemnify the lawsuits since it was based on Ruotolo's personal decisions as prosecutor in Union County. So this needs explanation. And general comments, although I was strongly in opposition to awarding Commissioner Hudak, who's here, I guess, with the surrogate position since he has no practical experience in law and the surrogate's office is 100% based on the application of law, I severely wish him well. This only because we experienced a profound disaster of Lindsay Ruotolo, an inexperienced person as prosecutor, where she got a couple of lawsuits on her, and we're still paying for it years after she left. So I hope Surrogate Hudak handles his office in a much, much better manner. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Paterson. For number 87, 88, 89, 93, and 100, County Manager Omen.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to work backwards for the parking deck, Mr. Patterson. Yes, that's the one from several years ago. The bids came in far higher than the $12 million, so we're retooling the project to try to get it around the number that's been provided for. Number 96, the on-call environmental. That's a service we use a lot throughout the year. We don't know what you're going to encounter, but it's a highly used item. That's why the number is higher than the others. For 88, 89, I wouldn't say it's a reimbursement, but it is the CARES money that pays for the COVID services. And for 87, you said healthcare. What this service provides is for the homebound, those who are not able to get out to our vaccine clinics. It provides COVID shots or boosters to the homebound to try to keep them safe and not have the virus spread. Thank you, Chair.
Number 99, Director Graziano, please.
Sure, through you, Chair. That's the first phase of the boiler replacement. We have to replace both boilers that we have in this complex. The speaker mentioned it's going to be a couple million. It's going to be a lot more than that when we're done. Probably with over $1 million in just design to get the plans out. Phase 2 will include the construction part of the job, getting it out to bid and doing it. It's probably a project that's going to go over the next few years at least, if not more. Those boilers are very old, close to 100 years old for both of them. So we have to replace them and keep the place going while we're doing the replacement. So yes, it is going to be a big undertaking, but through this board we'll be able to get it done and we'll be in better shape here.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Chair.
County Council, if you want to comment on 142 through 144.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. 142 is a case out of Cornerstone Hospital where unfortunately a patient did die. The main defense is being raised by the company we hired to provide medical services, but because it's a county facility, we are a defendant, and therefore we have to hire counsel to defend the county in that case. 143 and 144 do arise out of the prosecutor's office. The names of the case that are listed don't necessarily reflect the defendants. The county is a defendant in those cases. We do have an obligation to defend the former prosecutor, and that's why we're involved in them, and we do continue to defend them vigorously, and so that we have to pay our lawyers. Thank you.
County Council. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'll formally close this portion of the meeting.